Coco, I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm going to give you your full introduction.
No.
Former world number 9, two-time slam semi-finalist. I did notice that loss to Madison.
No, did you? Did you? I'm trying to forget about it still to this day. We're years down the road. I mean, it's a memory I'm trying to forget.
2017 US Open semi-final. I'm very close to beating Venus in the semis here the same year.
That's what I want to talk about more. Let's talk about the AO run.
Yeah, I'm not going to say the score against Madison.
No, please don't. Please don't. Somebody can Google that if they feel like it, but let's talk about the AO. I prefer that tournament.
Okay.
It's going to be interesting to see if Ruse does have the energy, more so not physically, but mentally out there going through qualifying and winning her first round. That still takes a big toll on the mentality of a player.
Yeah, she had a win over her fellow Romanian, Elena-Gabriela Ruse, in the first round, 6-4, 6-love. There's her her coach in the shades. I'm not sure he needs those, but Cain Kiorbaghiu alongside Monica Nicolescu. Sunglasses at night, Coco, are you going to have that?
Only in a nightclub, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to be doing? I'm not
even
talking to myself. I walked in with sunnies. The sun's still out.
That's a good deep return there from Keys. As Coco said, Ruse came through 3 rounds of qualifying as well. There's Bjorn Fratangelo, who we spoke to a few moments ago. Former player himself, reached a career high 99 in the world. Keys and Fratangelo married in November last year. What a brilliant lob. The apology because the backhand down the line looked to be going wide and until it hit the net tape. And that lob was brilliant.
Good job there by Madison Keys, able to rush the forehand of Ruse, and that backhand down the line has been such a signature. As much as we talk about the forehand of Madison Keys and how that is so dangerous, she really does such a great job really quickly changing direction down the line with that backhand in order to set up the powerful forehand.
Yeah, that's well watched. Ruse, who's currently ranked 57 in the world in doubles as well, has been 32 in that form of the game. She's in the doubles draw here alongside Kostyuk, yet to play their first round. Just gave Keys a bit of time on the pass and paid the price.
It was like literally this far wide.
Yeah, I have to say I did think that ball was drifting wide from Ruse. Keys feels it was well wide. It was a previous shot, the high ball that was mishit by Ruse. Justice done, if you like, with that pass. Well, that's a tough blow there for Ruse. Didn't play a bad game, but that ends up being broken. And it's the 3 C's tonight, Coco. Colin Coco. I'm delighted to say that we've got courtside Chanda Rubin. Chanda, if you can hear us, how are we doing? How's it looking down there?
It is terrific down here. Thanks, Colin and Coco. Yes, I want to be part of this rock group right now. I'm happy to be so. But it's a pleasant evening. Conditions are near perfect. It's almost a bit chilly, but for these players out here working hard, it's absolutely perfect. There is a slight breeze that is blowing from the side that Ruse just served from. So Madison Keys had that benefit of going slightly into the wind, and that absolutely is going to suit her game. She can hit through pretty much any conditions, but it's something to make note of as this match goes on.
Yeah, thank you, Chanda. I want to give you your full respect as well. A semi-finalist here, 1996, and a doubles winner that year as well. My goodness, that was a good trip to Melbourne.
I mean, my goodness, she was carrying her partner and everything involved. Good job, Chanda.
You know, that was a good year. That was a good year.
Yeah. Chanda says bit of a breeze up there on Margaret Court Arena. It has been a breezy day here on day 5. And you would think Keys is going to enjoy serving with the wind at her back. A lot of intensity from Ruse. She was certainly fired up for it.
This is still the early goings of this match, and it's going to take some time to find your distance, especially with the conditions, like Chanda said, are behind Madison Keys. So these balls are just going to move a little bit longer than she's expecting.
Keys beat a fellow American in round 1, Ann Lee, 6-4, 7-5. It was that run in Adelaide that I think really caught the tennis world's attention. It wasn't exactly a weak draw. She beat Haddad Maya, 16 in the world in round 1. Ostapenko, 17 in the world in round 2. And Kazatkina ranked 9. Samsonova ranked 26 and Pegula ranked 7. That's she didn't fluke that one.
No, not at all. And I spoke to Mark Knowles, Jess Pegula's coach, before Jess's first round match, and he said because of the rain, they hadn't even had a hit here at Melbourne Park, so hadn't really felt the court conditions before walking out. She had no trouble with her first round match, and I'm assuming Madison Keys had the same issue going into her first round, not having the quality practice time. And that's always the give and take when you decide to play the week before.
Second.
Able to laugh that one off. easier to do when you're already 2-love ahead. It's interesting to hear Bjorn Fratangelo talk about looking for more power in her game. We've seen on the men's side, Alcaraz and Zverev add weight to their racket, looking to hit bigger. It seems to be a theme in the game, you know, the power getting more and more. I would have thought Madison had enough power in the game already.
Well, even before speaking to Bjorn, obviously, like I said, I played with the Onyx for many years, so I know what this racket feels like and does. Obviously, I'm sure Madison has it weighted to her specifications, but this racket does give a lot more control than I think people give credit for. The E-Zone, which I played with the same one, I'm assuming it's a 98, not the 100, so a smaller head frame. Everyone always said, oh, Onyx gives you way too much pop, but for me, it gave me the control I needed.
Well, there was plenty of power and control in that return. That's untouchable.
And there's still going to be growing pains in trusting a racket, especially when you've played with a different model for so many years and a different brand for so many years. But Madison Keys seems to have just been no problem at all.
Oh, there's the backhand down the line again.
15-14.
Gabriela Ruse is working so hard to get her legs behind these shots and go toe-to-toe with the power of Keys, but it is an uphill battle right now, and she's up against it.
That's too awkward for Ruse. Quick start here for the 19th seed, Madison Keys. Strides to her chair with a 3-love lead.
And this has been a big working point for Madison Keys, especially going into this year. And we heard Bjorn talk about this a little bit last year in different aspects of getting Madison Keys up inside the court to return. She has been so good at returning behind the baseline, especially second serve return because of her big ground strokes. But I think this is helping her so much to get the success that she has early on, because not only does she have the big ground strokes, but also the presence of being inside the baseline. That is something that I don't think enough people bank on. She is a taller player. She is a big hitter. So as somebody that is going up to serve their second serve, they're thinking, oh my gosh, do I have to really deal with the haymakers that Madison Keys is going to throw? And I'm seeing her on top of the baseline. I'm really panicking at this point.
So Madison Keys in control here. She's got a double break. Looking very sharp early on. Oh, Ruse with a clean strike of her own. US Open last year was the Romanian's best Grand Slam in singles, qualifying, reaching the third round. She lost in a third set tiebreak in that third round to Paula Badosa, and had beaten Barbora Krejcikova, so playing the best tennis of her career in New York.
But Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong with it, in comparison to the courts in New York, these courts are jumping a lot more.
Yeah, it's bouncy. The ball bounces up a bit more, and evening conditions, it is a little cooler, so it maybe slows down slightly as well.
That's an intelligent forehand there from Keys, back in behind.
30.
And to your point, Coco, it really feels and seems like the ball is jumping off the court. And even the last couple of serves, they weren't the biggest kicks from Keys, but they got up and a little bit out of the strike zone of Ruse.
A bit of work on that ace there from Keys. He's just had a little too much for Ruse here.
One other thing that was interesting before the third game of the match, Ruse's coach and Monica Nicolescu switched seats, I guess, so the coach could be a little closer, trying to give her a few
you got to
more-
change the mojo,
Yes.
Chanda. You
give her
know,
a few more words that might be helpful here.
Good spot, Chanda.
we're all superstitious at the end of the day.
They're going to have to change again. Who knows where they might end up sitting by the end of the match here. Still not on the board, and in some ways a little unlucky. She has been working hard. Even think back to game point, the first game, Coco, where Keys' backhand was going wide, hit the tape, landed in the court, and Keys hasn't looked back since. Oh, that's brilliant. Well played. Elena-Gabriela Ruse, not an easy volley. Kept two hands on the racket, but just nudged it short in the court.
Length. Seconds.
Chanda, is your Romanian any good?
Not nearly good enough.
Okay.
30.
I mean, it was definitely a let. She's just got to be frustrated about what's going on tonight. Nothing is quite going her way. She's having to work very hard for every little bit she's getting. And yet, look at the scoreline. She is still not even on the board yet.
And that's really credit to Madison Keys and her game style and her ability to take the racket out of your hands as an opponent. It doesn't matter what kind of game style you have. Madison Keys is playing plan A until plan A is not going to work and she's walking to the locker room, and sometimes that's hard to stomach.
Oh, that is just too good. There's that aggressive second serve return position, Coco.
And she's staying so low through that return. There's no pulling to the middle of the court, which I've seen Madison Keys do to try to get out of the way. You see she just stays low through it. The body weight doesn't move anywhere. If anything, it's going forward into the court.
Ruse is trying to slow things up. And we've all been there against a big hitter where the match starts to go quicker and quicker. It's tough to get on the board, and it's imperative that she try to find a way to slow it up a bit and dig in here.
Just taking her time. You have to admire the attitude. 4-love down, but staying positive. Got a chance to get on the board here. She is indeed on the board. That's no less than Elena-Gabriela Ruse deserves. Positive mindset. He's still 2 breaks ahead though, 4-1.
And in comparison, we've been talking about Madison Keys' return position, but let's take a look at Ruse's average return hit points, first serve versus second serve. We've been talking about the court conditions, how high the ball is bouncing. Madison Keys' second serve is a kick serve, so that's top spin. The ball is going to bounce up high over the shoulders. So Ruse is taking that on, stepping inside the baseline, trying to meet the ball before it gets too high, taking the ball on the rise. Right now it's not working too well for her because it's putting her out of position for the next ball. But I do agree with that decision making. I think that's a better choice than moving back and waiting for the ball to drop, in my opinion.
Madison Keys' best kick serve in the women's game?
Ooh, no, I've returned it. I'm gonna say Naomi's, I think Naomi's kick serve is pretty good. Muchova's kick serves up there too.
Top 3 then?
Top three, for sure.
I talked you into that.
Yeah, you did. I'm still picking my own brain to think if there's anyone else that I could name that actually has a kick serve.
Yeah, for those that don't know, a kick, sort of top spin serve. A bit more sort of flight and trajectory, and it's going to jump to the right as opposed to a slice serve that would swing to the left from a right-hander. More common in the women's game for a sort of flatter or more of a slice second serve, isn't it?
Yes, and in the U.S. we would call that really good kick like Pete Sampras would have, or Andy Roddick, an American twist serve.
I thought that was a dance move.
Oh, well, you know better moves than I do, apparently, Colin.
That's not true. Good from Ruse.
15-30.
He's keeping the intensity high. 4-love was probably slightly unfair in terms of the balance of the match, but there's no doubt Keys has been on top.
Let's first.
There's one of the breaks back. All of a sudden things looking a little better for Ruse. There's the coaching box courtside, a new innovation on Rod Laver, Margaret Court, and John Cain arenas.
Thank you. Seat quickly, please, behind the players. Thank you.
And for the second year here at the Australian Open, we have freedom of movement in the stands. They don't have to wait for the change of ends. Settled down now, though.
15 left.
was unlucky with injuries in 2024. She missed this tournament with the shoulder injury. She had to retire from her 4th round match at Wimbledon against Jasmine Paolini, 5-all in the 3rd, after injuring her hamstring. And even when she played at the US Open, I don't think she was 100% fit and healthy. The serve speeds were down and she was just doing what she could. Chandler, she's looking a little frustrated there, Madison Keys.
This is all about the fight from Ruse, and Madison, I think, is just a little bit rattled. It's thrown her off slightly, and her balls have flattened out. She's got to still get that spin and that little bit of margin that has worked so well for her the first 4 games of the match.
It's all about weathering the storm when you are playing Madison Keys and hoping that it does stop at some point. And Madison Keys finding a few more unforced errors off of her racket, just going a little bit too big. The adrenaline is still pumping.
This has been a great fight back from Elena-Gabriela Ruse. Her attitude's been the key. Americans still in front, 4-3 with a break. A little nod to her team. I have to say, a lot of players' heads would have gone down at 4-love, but she really has worked her way back into this.
It's been impressive, and she really has, just like I was just saying, weathered the storm. She's allowed Madison Keys to kind of play herself out of having the double break, and unfortunately that's the tough part. You're down the double break, so you're fighting hard, but it's just you're within inches.
And it's gotten a little bit cooler out here. I had to break down and put my little jacket on here. I know I was fighting it, but I had to go to it. And you could see a little bit more of that breeze picking up on the side where Madison was, so that also maybe just carried her balls a little more long than she was hoping for, but she definitely needs a little more spin. I can see the trajectory has gotten flatter here.
Insight from Chana Rubin courtside. And there we are inside the Margaret Court Arena. That magnificent setting for tennis on day 5 here at the Australian Open. Too good.
Kick serve still really jumping for Madison. It's going to be how quickly she realizes that's become now the better serve for her in this match.
Yeah, that's sharp. That's a player that's been winning matches.
Yeah, when you are on a winning streak, and I'm sure Chanda can attest, sometimes things, your go-to patterns just work that much cleaner, that much easier, that it's that much more clear. Great kick serve there from Madison Keys. Ruse doing a great job to get that return deep, but Madison Keys there to neutralize, then turn it into offense that quickly. That's what she's been doing so well this season in the first 2 lead-ups. That has really been the difference maker.
Yeah, Keys, the WTA Tour leader so far for match wins, having won a couple of matches in Auckland as well. Wins over Bronzetti and Christian there, before losing to Clara Tauson, her only defeat of the season. She's pegged back to Juice here. This is just turning into a bit more of a battle than it looked for a while at 4-love, certainly.
That was a silly serve to me at that stage. It's deuce. You're fighting out this game. You got to go to your bread and butter, and that's a kick down the tee. Ruse has not been that confident in returning that kick serve. Don't serve yourself out of this.
Well. 4 games in a row for the qualifier, who is now right back in this opening set.
And that game, that's a blow for Madison Keys, having the game points after she missed the wild forehand on the first game point. She looked over at her team, at her coach, as if, you know, looking for answers. And you wonder about the racket change, if it starts to kind of get into her mind in this kind of situation. Maybe it's not quite the best racket. That's not actually the case, but you just start to think crazy thoughts.
Hey, listen, we're superstitious at the end of the day. When things start to go awry, we're looking for the equipment. It's sometimes it's not the bow, it's the Indian that's shooting the bow, and it's hard for us as players to accept that.
And based on the stencil on the strings, there's no turning back now. I think she's signed on the dotted line. Feels like Ruse has adjusted to the speed of the match, you know, the power of the Keys' ground shots in particular.
Yeah, it certainly helps, and like I've been saying earlier, weathering the storm, allowing Madison Keys to hit herself out of this match. There's very few players that can handle the pace of Madison Keys and stay in the rallies and also get the free points, but right now Ruse is firmly in this set, and Madison Keys is still producing air after air. That's a big ball right there, and Ruse's still trying to handle the shots, and yes, Madison Keys is still going to come up with the goods, but you got to realize which side is giving you the airs, and right now it's been the forehand of Madison Keys that's been producing the quick early airs. As much as you want to get into the backhand wing of Keys, you still have to realize the hand that's being dealt to you. It's mainly the first ball after serve. As that one was a backhand that went well wide, it's Madison Keys has been a bit late on the shot. So the out wide serves are going to work well. The rush through the middle are going to work well, because you are noticing that Madison Keys is not keeping up with tempo.
14-13.
Well, the net court gave her a bit of time there. That was a chance to close out this 9th game. Big point here. Well, there wasn't much on that second serve, and Madison Keys didn't need a second invitation to step in and take control.
That was middle of the box, second serve. Did a good job to defend off of that return, but again, the forehand is relentless from Madison Keys.
That's a much better second serve there. Faster, deeper in the box. And she closes out the game with an ace. This is really impressive from Ruse. And the world number 125 has won 5 games in a row here.
We're looking a little bit at Ruse's rally placement, as you can see, and a lot of players try to do, mainly trying to direct it into the backhand corner of Madison. It's 53% and 32. I'll still give that the edge into the backhand wing. Only 15% going to the forehand of Keys. And that has really been the key of just still sticking with the game plan. Don't weather the storm. Don't fade away just because Madison Keys is hot right now. Just keep with the game plan and trust it. And credit to Ruse for doing that after being down 4-love.
Just 10 minutes shy of 8 p.m. local time here on day 5 at the Australian Open. Madison Keys needs to snap the run of games against it.
During the changeover, Madison Keys went to a 3rd racket. She put the other 2 into her bag. And as she was coming to serve, her coach Bjorn kind of pantomimed using more wrist on the serve. She's still searching, but maybe if she can settle in this game, that'll go a long way.
Very impressive. Changing direction, timing the ball.
Ruse couldn't have played that point any better. Madison Keys really pressing to find her forehand, just mistiming this overhead. And that's probably the hardest thing to get used to when you come to a stadium court for Ruse is finding the ball on an overhead, going and seeing it in the sky.
Keys' turn to let a high ball drop and miss this time. Is that just a different sort of perspective or backdrop of playing in a big arena like this?
Oh, definitely, and depth perception. I think it's very difficult, and probably the most difficult things. I remember even when I was solidified in top 10, Pat Cash, my coach at the time, he would always say, take extra overheads in the stadium to get your eye in, and that was always still very important.
Half a chance there to peg Keys back to deuce, not to beat. So the run of games for Ruse ends at 5, and we're locked at 5 games all here. Plenty of input there from her coach, Bjorn Fratangelo. Got a few things to work out, that's for sure. Two or three times the backhand down the line's been untouchable. In fact, 5 of Keys' 11 winners have been off her backhand. And Ruse might regret giving her another backhand there. Chanda, that backhand's really flying off the racket, isn't it?
It is, and she's not hitting it hard. She's giving herself actually a little more margin, and it's still a terrific shot. So maybe that also helps to settle Keys down, where she knows she doesn't have to overplay the early stages of a point.
Something about the Grand Slams for Ruse. She finished 2024 playing 3 $125,000 events. It was 2 second rounds and a first round. But qualifying here just as she did at the US Open and in New York, she made the 3rd round. She's playing at a much higher level than 125 in the world here.
And there's something that happens when you are down the way Ruse was down, and it just seemed like nothing was going right. All of a sudden, she hangs in there. She's able to turn things around. You've weathered the worst of the storm, as Coco has been saying, and now you're even more relaxed, and she's playing it like it.
Well, there's some emotion from Madison Keys. Maybe just letting out some tension.
I think you have that exactly right. This has been a back and forth battle between these two. Madison Keys letting a big lead slip. many ways to relieve tension, and this has been the go-to for Madison.
Wild. Nowhere near the court with that backhand return. Ruse pumps the fist again, as do her team.
6 games to 5.
And once more, she's just a game away from nicking this opening set. So much belief in the way she's competing here. Someone that was 4-love down, but you know, she never really sort of let the head go down, and incredible turnaround.
I think it's a bit of playing above your ranking, but also that Ruse has been in these positions before. Like you said, making 3rd round out of qualifying at the US Open just recently, former 51 in the world. So that's definitely stuff she can bank on, that she does have the feeling that I belong. This isn't that much of a threat, even though Madison is the 19th seed out here, has had a good run at a tournament the week before, so it's definitely all positives for the Ruse camp.
Go. I did.
The lights are on as evening approaches night here in Melbourne. Just gone 8 p.m. local time, and for a 2nd time, Keys serving to stay in this opening set.
There are some shots like that last one where you see Ruse getting her legs and her balance beautifully behind the ball, and it has made a huge difference. She started the match trying to do that, but she's caught up to the pace of Keys, and she's doing it more often.
Like a bit of a nervy error there. The tension is building on Keys. Reminder, American led 4-love in this opening set. Ruse now just 2 points away from winning it. That's a smart serve.
And a very good disguise there. Keys throwing it over her head, which means as a returner, you think you're going to see Keys kick the ball into your backhand, but that's what makes Keys such a good server, the disguise, being able to take any toss in any direction in that service box.
Oh, what a combination there. Producing some of her best stuff under real pressure. Madison Keys shows her quality to win 3 straight points. And it almost seems fitting that we're into a tiebreak here. This has been a real battle, this opening set.
Certainly not what we thought was going to happen when we came out here. Keys up 4-love quickly. Ruse working her way back into this match. It's really been a barn burner.
Just dragged it wide.
1-0, Keys. Keys.
Six points in a row now for Madison Keys. Maybe just starting to assert her authority on this. Cruel on Ruse.
4-0, Keys.
Nothing she could do about the net cord.
Sometimes just better lucky than good.
Good and lucky, that's the best combo. Serve goes long. This is
5-0, Keys.
Well, that's 8 points in a row. Ruse fought so hard. First of all, to get back in this set, then to nearly win it. She was just 2 points away. But it's on Keys' racket now. Was probably the easiest shot of the set so far. It didn't have to be anywhere near the sideline, did it?
Just in the court anywhere, but sometimes, Colin, when it rains, it pours out here.
I mean, Madison Keys was nearly on Rod Laver Arena. Just anywhere in the court. Took her eye off the ball. I mean, at 5-1, she was still up against it, but having missed that volley. She knew before it landed. Look at her face. 6-love, it's... That feels like game over now.
Feels like it probably is, Colin. I'm sorry. It's going to be hard to come back from 6-0 with Keys serving multiple times for the set.
Well, the run of points ends at 9 for Madison Keys from 5-6, 15-30. As Coco says, though, the luxury of so many set points, still 5 to come here. Madison Keys, the 19th seed, survives a scare in the opening set here. She was 4-love up to go all the way. Plenty of highlights in that opening set. Is the winning moment. Keys crunches the forehand, and we're feeling an awful lot better about things now. Like Elena-Gabriela Ruse has left the court. Jana, that was a tough one to take for the Romanian, that missed volley in particular.
Absolutely, and as she walked off the court, you could see she was fighting back emotion. It was visible, and Monica Nicolescu shortly went out of the player's box as well. I mean, this is a tough moment. It's a gift and a curse. She fought her way all the way back. Ruse did, was 2 points from the set, and then really just collapsed in that tiebreak. So how do you take confidence, full confidence from it? And I think that's going to be the struggle for Ruse as she starts the second set. She's got a lot of work to do, but she was very much in this match, and she still is.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it? You know, you and I and everyone in this Margaret Court Arena would say, you're right in this, you know, keep fighting. But as the player that's just lost a sore one in the tiebreak, it's easy to be thinking negatively.
It's easy to deflate, and you know, you had a prime opportunity. If she's looking at it that way against a top player, those opportunities don't come easily, and you know, you wonder what her belief level is. She talked about that at times in her career, not always believing in herself and struggling with that. So this is going to be another test in that department for her.
It's part of the coaching protocols now. With Ruse off the court, Keys allowed to approach her team, her coach and husband, Bjorn Fratangelo, and they're just going to talk through things. There was a lot of good tennis from Madison Keys, there's no doubt about that. Maybe just a few adjustments required. Trying to cut out a few of the 16 unforced errors would be high on the agenda, you'd think. Is always trying to encourage Keys to just have a little bit more patience, and as Chandler said during that opening set, keep a bit of shape on her ground shot. She has so much power, she doesn't need to go all out all the time. Ruse looks as if she's cleared her mind and is ready to go for set 2. It will be the world number 14, Madison Keys, to serve first.
If ever there was a time to go off court and do a hard reset, it was that moment for Ruse. So hopefully she can use that and get off to a good start. Returning first, maybe that helps where she can not serve right out of the gate. But it's worth mentioning, Colin, I still don't think Madison Keys played a great tiebreak. She still hasn't found that level we've been seeing in her. She still looks a bit unsettled. The forehand is still a little more off than she would like, so we'll see how she does here.
Early stages of this set, so important, of any set for that matter. Ruse did so well in the first set, but she won't want to go 4-love behind again, that's for sure. So a confident hold there. And Madison Keys keeping the momentum going off the back of the opening set. We're in the bottom half of the women's singles draw here. Top section. Winner of this match will play the winner of a match that's just not long started on the Kia Arena between the 10th seed Danielle Collins and the Australian qualifier Destiny Aeva. Potential Keys Collins third round will be pretty tasty.
Sure would. Aeva's been making some headway, some news headlines, wearing some old vintage, I guess we can say vintage Australian Open kits.
Nice. We like that.
Yeah.
Retro.
Somebody give her a sponsorship. She doesn't have to go through the archives.
You could go and sign. You could be her agent, Coco.
I'd ask for too much.
There's a potential fourth round meeting with, well, the winner of Rybakina or Yastremska. So this is a pretty tough section of the draw. Keys, Collins, Rybakina all vying for a spot in the quarterfinals. A lot of tennis to be played before we get there. They've played a bit of musical chairs again in the box. It looks like the team of Ruse. Monica Nicolescu is away from the court still. Kaylin Kyorbagiu, her coach, looking dialed in as ever. And that's not going to make them feel good. That return flies past Ruse. Really starting to build some momentum here, Madison Keys.
That's a tough serve placement from Ruse. That serve just not biting, taking the slice into the other side of the court, into the deuce court. It's always dangerous serving into the Keys forehand.
It's a better serve there, a second ace.
Just looks like to me that Keys is popping up on her forehand. She's not staying low through it. Now, Chanda, are the conditions picking up at all with the wind?
No, it's actually stayed pretty much the same. You still have that slight breeze, but I might could take my jacket off now, but I don't want to.
Chanda, we could set a hot cup of tea down there or something if you need it.
I would take that right about now.
Chanda loves her tea.
I do.
Like a slightly slower pace first serve and one that she might be regretting. Great strike there from Keys on the backhand down the line again. I think I'm all in on the shades actually from Ruse's coach now. You know, it's got that little bit darker. It's actually.
Come on, he's in the club.
Yeah, yeah. I'm feeling it.
I had to pony up and buy some shades here at AO.
It's another devastating return from Keys.
You feel like this is a very pivotal game for Ruse. She's got to get out of it by all means possible.
Can't be out by much, but the call came. It's a good hold to serve.
Both players getting some words from their teams. You saw Ruse there with her team, Madison as well, talking with Bjorn. Pivotal moments to try to take control of this second set, at least stay on serve.
It just looks like the racket head speed from Keys is just not really getting through the ball. She's kind of just guiding it a little bit. You know, when you are sailing balls long, you have to keep that racket head speed acceleration to get the top spin to bring it down. But it also looks like to me, Chena, that Ruse is doing a much better job at reading the Keys serve, making more returns in play.
Yeah, she seems more comfortable, even sometimes guessing slightly, playing the percentages. She's gotten enough data now to have a good sense. She's definitely less intimidated, and obviously from the first 4 games, things were going very quickly. Now that she's in the match, she just looks like she is a bit more settled. Even after losing the first set, it's been a nice reset for the Romanian.
Just mistimed that second serve. Just the 1 ace so far from Keys. Speaking to your point, Coco, Ruse getting a decent read on the first serve.
That's almost more annoying as a big server, is how many returns Ruse's getting back into play there. It's not to say that they're good returns as far as you're going on the defense. It's more to say that as a big server, you're expecting a lot more free points. You're expecting a lot of aces. And when that's not coming, you feel like you're not doing enough with the serves. And then in turn, that makes you feel like you have to press more, get the serve closer to the line, or at least play your next ball a lot bigger. Ruse getting a break point here.
Continues to maintain that positive attitude. And she did so well to put that ball back into play. It's a poor forehand from Keys. Can't help but admire the approach from Ruse. She moves ahead 2-1 in this second set with the break. A little bit of cloud cover, but still a very impressive Melbourne sunset. Got ourselves a real battle on our hands here. The first of the evening session matches here on Margaret Courts Arena on day 5 of the Australian Open. Still to come on this court tonight, the 5th seed in the men's singles, Daniil Medvedev, against the qualifier in the USA, Elena-Gabriela Ruse. Very gifted left-hander. Pace doesn't seem to be worrying Ruse.
No, I mean, right now, she is ready for the ball. I mean, that was a nice serve, but she came out of it. She got her legs down and behind the ball. I mean, she knows she has to do that, and so she's just accepting that challenge. I think Keys is struggling with that right now. Things aren't quite going her way.
I think that's been the biggest trouble for Keys in her game is there's no real plan B. You know, when things aren't going her way, as far as her shots aren't landing, the unforced error count starts to rise. She hasn't really figured out what is my next mode. What am I going to do next to be able to counteract these problems? Again, see, that's just too big of a forehand. That's just a good response from Ruse. That's okay, now time to reset. Let's maybe throw some more topspin on the ball. Let's get some heaviness to my shots, because Madison can throw a lot of heavy topspin on the ball. That ball can really start jumping out of the strike zone, but she just decides to go flatter, harder, deeper, closer to the line instead.
Ruse consolidates the break. She's becoming a real problem here for Madison Keys. Romania refusing to go away.
See Ruse still jumping around, just showing really good energy out there. Really good presence.
And you feel that as an opponent, don't you? Intensity.
You certainly do, and it's not like Madison won that first set super comfortably. As much as she had the early lead, 4-0 double break, she lost it. So she was going into that tiebreaker almost with a few cuts on her coming in and a little bit banged up. It's like a fighter that's taken a couple of hard blows before winning the round. It doesn't feel good coming into the second set. And that's what Madison Keys is now dealing with. And that's credit to Ruse for still bouncing back, coming out with a puncher's chance out here, even though she lost the first set. Still relentlessly picking on that backhand wing, Ruse.
This is such a tough position for a big hitter like Keys to be in. I mean, she's got to figure out how to hang in rallies just a little longer without backing off of her shots. And that is a difficult balance right now when you're not feeling the ball as well.
Set up the backhand down the line that she likes, but didn't find the execution that time. Well, what a moment this is. You say with a break point here. for 4 games in a row in this second set. Well, that is a quality point for Madison Keys. Maybe just in the nick of time.
The intensity from Ruse just continues to hit you in the face, and every point, you know, she's fist pumped, you can see it, but it's in her face, it's in how she's moving and trying for every single ball. She's got another opportunity.
This is relentless quality and intensity from Elena-Gabriela Ruse. And she's won 4 games in a row here in this second set. And she's got a double break advantage. This has been quite incredible, Coco. I mean, from 4-love in the first set, Ruse has been the better player, other than maybe a bit of a dodgy tiebreak.
This has just been a very air-ridden set for Keys. She just hasn't been able to feel comfortable out here. And it's almost crazier to say that she had a 4-love lead in the first, because it seemed like smooth sailing and everything was going her way. Maybe we'd be out of here in an hour 15, but now we're in the thick of it. And it's been all because Madison Keys has played her way out of this match by so many airs. It's just been something that she hasn't quite figured out, I think, throughout her whole career, of how to stop this kind of run. She's got to figure out a way to figure out, how do I get my game back into this? How do I find just more of a rally ball, but still stay aggressive? And that's something that I think she could find in heaviness with topspin, going to that sort of margins. But it keeps her aggressive, and everyone can think of, okay, Rafa Nadal, that heavy, aggressive topspin that we've seen off of his ball. Find it that way instead of just going flatter and harder and closer to the lines. But again, we got to credit Ruse. She stayed in this fight, has not felt like she's been out of it whatsoever.
I can't see what the serve numbers are for this second set, but from my vantage point, it looks like Ruse is serving better than Keys in this second set, and that's just not what you would have expected either.
Yeah, she's out-acing her, 2-1. 71% of first serves in from Ruse. And that very similar number is about a quarter of first serves unreturned.
What's the second serve points won? 33% for Madison Keys. Behind her second serve, we're at Ruse at 50%.
Here's another brilliant first serve. Coco Chanda, give us a feel. Ruse is ranked 125 in the world. What sort of level is she playing here tonight, though? It's not 125. Chanda, I'll come down to you first. What do you think?
I mean, I certainly think she's playing, 30 in the world type of tennis. And if she can play this way consistently over the course of the year, she should absolutely be at that ranking.
Certainly playing well above her ranking, her recent form, other than the US Open. Something about the Grand Slams. Coco, do you agree?
I definitely agree. I can't say otherwise.
You can't disagree with Chanda. It doesn't end well.
No. I know better. I've been with Chanda before.
I mean, look, the question is always, what can you do consistently? What can you recreate? And that's the measure of the ranking. But with the way she has played tonight, Ruse, she's had answers for a lot of problems. She's made adjustments. She's worked through things in the match. That's what top players do.
5 games in a row. Keys serving 1-5. Saw a picture of Keys' coach, Bjorn Fratangelo, there. He's looking a little shell-shocked. I don't think he necessarily expected this evening. Title in Adelaide for Keys, beating a host of top 10 and top 20 players. Raced into the 4-love lead. Just a little impatient there.
And it's tough. You play a tournament before and you think, oh, that's the success. I walk away with the trophy. But you're fatigued. You've worked really hard to gain that trophy, where everyone that took that week off is feeling fresh as a daisy out here.
It's the nature of tennis as well, the sport. You win a tournament and you barely get 5 minutes to celebrate. Here she is again. Every time you're on the court, you've got to prove yourself.
And it's not like it's easy traveling around here in Australia. They're long flights, and as much as the tournament tries to keep the conditions the same, they're very different.
Yeah, Adelaide was fast, I believe.
And it's because of the temperature. It's always hot. It's always a little bit drier in Adelaide. Where here in Melbourne, you can get the humidity to come in, which makes the court bouncier. It makes the court stickier out here, so it doesn't feel as fast. It's very similar, as we can equate it to the States, as Indian Wells versus Miami. Indian Wells, very dry conditions. The ball travels through the air quicker, where in Miami, it's humidity out there. The ball feels heavier coming off of the racket.
Yeah, Keys actually a 2-time winner in Adelaide. She got the title 2022 as well. 9 titles in total, twice in Eastbourne on the grass courts in the south coast of England.
She needs a few more titles in Eastbourne for them to put a sign up like they did for Roger Federer and Halle.
Yeah. Ruse has just been relentless again. 40-15 for Keys on serve, and ends up back at deuce, having to work hard for the game.
Advantage, Keys.
Well, that stops the rot at least for Keys. Qualifier Ruse stays firmly in control of this second set. Playing in just her second main draw to singles here at the Australian Open, the first coming in 2022. Ruse, she was a direct acceptance, ranked 72 in the world at that time. She actually beat Jasmine Paolini in the first round. Paolini was ranked 52 then. She's on a trajectory she's been on the last 12 months. Lost to Kudermetova in the second round, Ruse. It's been qualifying defeats in 2020, 23. Here she is as a qualifier in 2025 and playing very well in the second round. Disappointing end to the first set for Ruse. But here she is serving for the second at 5-2. Oh, no sign of any nerves serving for the set. Oh, not just yet. A couple of clean winners from Keys.
Maybe the first nervous shot we've seen from Ruse. That backhand just not quite hit the cleanest.
Oh, 3 winners in a row, and this set isn't done yet.
Even though Madison Keys has been successful in this game of getting it back from 40 love back to deuce, it just seems still too redlined, in my opinion. Just far too flat, far too aggressive. It just doesn't feel sustainable. Chanda, do you feel like it's just stubbornness from Madison Keys, or do you think that there's just no plan B?
Aren't we all a bit stubborn?
I can speak for myself and say yes. Colin, I hear you a little bit too quiet over there.
As I said, you never disagree with Chanda. Qualifier Elena-Gabriela Ruse is playing well above the level that her ranking suggests. And she's taken us to a deciding set here on the Margaret Court Arena. it's no less than she deserves, Coco. She's putting in one of the best performances of her career here.
Yeah, she's really put it all together in this second set. The first serve percentage at 66, but what I love behind it, winning such a high percentage on the second serve points won. That's somewhere that Madison Keys usually is so aggressive and really puts you on the defensive. But look at the unforced error count on Madison Keys' racket. 16 unforced errors to Ruse. 5 unforced errors, and that's been the key difference overall.
We can look back on the second set highlights. Very disappointing end to the first set for Ruse, who took a break from the court. And that seemed to be a wise move. Able to reset. Winning 5 games in a row from 1-love down. Resistance from Keys at the end, but Ruse was not to be resisted. If you're just joining us here on the Margaret Court Arena, we are in women's second round singles action. The 19th seed and one of the form players in the women's game, Madison Keys, champion in Adelaide, in action against the qualifier, Elena-Gabriela Ruse of Romania. We've got a real battle on our hands. Keys led 4-love in the first set before Ruse fought right back into it. And the Romanian, too good for Keys, who's fed up too many errors from her liking. Deep discussion there with her coach and husband, Bjorn Fratangelo. He's got the pad in front of him with all the stats and the patterns of play, trying to break things down and make the difference here. Colin Fleming alongside Coco Vandeweghe, Chanda Rubin courtside. And Coco, you've been talking about it, you know, Keys needing to play with more margin, maybe just move the ball. Do you think that's what Bjorn will be saying to her now?
Hopefully. I hope so. It's whether or not Keys takes that to heart. And we know that Madison needs to cut down the unforced errors. It's just getting Keys into a position that she feels comfortable to make the shot selections that put her in a high percentage play. And I do want to credit Ruse. She has definitely been the aggressor out here, weathering the storm, handling the first ball, but getting a lot of balls into the backhand wing of Keys. And that's been really troublesome for right now, and it's definitely been a really good second set from Ruse.
Final set.
So we're ready to go for the deciding set here. Placing the third round on the line. Keys to serve first. And Chanda, anything you're picking up courtside, maybe anything that Keys could do differently?
Well, you know, you asked the question about stubbornness, Coco, and I do think there is an element of stubbornness in terms of how Keys feels she should be able to play. You know, sometimes the way you feel you should play is not the actual way to play to get the win and to give yourself the best chance. And I think she's warring with that mindset a little bit. Can see Bjorn Fratangelo kind of talking maybe technical issues, but I think a lot of it is mental right now.
That's a very good point there, Chanda. Could, should, and want. That's definitely something that tennis players battle with constantly. Should I play a certain way? Do I want to play a certain way? It's all goes into how we just perform day in, day out.
right shot, just couldn't quite find the execution.
I mean, the way things look right now, the power and pace of Keys is playing into Ruse's game, and we would have never said that at the beginning of the match, but it has shifted considerably, and so that's where I think Keys needs to shift a bit. May not be her game, but try to get the ball more away from Ruse, more placement versus pace.
Oh. Well, that was a combination of pace and placement, that forehand finding the corner. For anyone that hasn't seen Ruse play, she's qualified here for her 3rd straight Grand Slam, and at the US Open last year, she went on to reach the 3rd round with a win over the world number 8 at the time, Barbora Krejcikova. Lost in that round of 32 match to Paula Badosa in a 3rd set tiebreak. So there has been some suggestion that she has this in her.
Yeah, I would say she definitely has, and has proven it. It's just getting the ranking back up there, and that's always difficult after an injury and after time away from the game to get the reps, because yes, we may only see Ruse at Grand Slam level right now given her ranking. Most of the time she will be either on the Challenger Tour or playing qualifying and just kind of taking her lumps there, but if she continues this level and continues consistent results at tournaments, we will see her contending. I mean, definitely making round of 64 and 32 is definitely plausible with this game.
There's been those sorts of points. The intensity from Ruse has been off the charts. Just missing with that forehand.
And Chanda hitting the nail on the head right now that's one of the first times we've seen Keys go to a slice, changing up the pace, trying to stay within these points in these rallies by any means possible. Because like Chanda was mentioning, the pace of Keys is feeding into the Ruse game. So let's start using some slices. Let's start going into more of a dead neutral ball.
Oh. Maybe not the cleanest drive volley. Got the reward for stepping in and taking it out there. There's a bit of width that Coco and Chanda have been talking about, getting the ball out of the middle of the court. was a wild return. She looked a little uncertain on what she was trying to do there. One thing that hasn't wavered in this match from Ruse in the qualifier is her belief and her intensity. Even when she was 4-love down in the first set, there were fist pumps, there was plenty of energy.
And she keeps sending a message down to the other side of the court. And win or lose, she's giving herself the best chance to win this match. And that's all you want as a player.
Pattern in the second set, Keys held the opening game and then lost 5 games in a row. So it's important that American hold serve here. Doesn't let that happen again.
I'd love to see a few more of those plays. We saw the first point of this game from Keys where she sliced and moved forward. I don't know that we had seen her do that since the early stages of the first set, but she is very comfortable up at the net. She has good hands, and it just adds another element that Ruse has to think about.
Yeah, just 9 times she's come to the net, Madison Keys, won 6 of them. And for anyone seeing Keys play for the first time this season, they'll notice a new racket in her hand, change of manufacturer. And we heard from her coach, Bjorn Fratangelo, pre-match, talking of going to add a bit extra to her game. So it's a love hold. Keys being made to work very hard here. She's looking focused and moves ahead 2-1 in the third. Well, the colours popping once again as the sun sets on day 5 here at Melbourne Park. It's a recognisable scene. Melbourne Park and the Australian Open. View down to St Kilda and the beaches. And of course we swing round to see the centre of the city, the CBD, just a 10 or so minute walk away. First of 2 night matches here on Margaret Court Arena on day 5. 5th seed Daniel Medvedev up next against qualifier Lerner Tien of the United States. As for now, though, we're locked in a battle. Ruse serving 1-2, final set. She just will not go away. Just get the feeling that she's not going to give this to Madison Keys.
No, she certainly isn't, and this is how she has played the last set and a half. Really amping it up in that second set, but really kick-starting herself in that latter half of this first. Madison Keys is not getting the good strikes that she had dreamed of. And when she tries to lean in and drive the ball deep, they've been sailing long. Anytime she's gone into more of a passive state of just pushing the ball back, Ruse has been quick on the mark to step inside the baseline to start dictating. It honestly looks like Madison Keys just isn't even reading Ruse's serve anymore. Going to a chip forehand there. That's very uncharacteristic-like.
Couple of points in a row for Keys, and this fourth game just becoming slightly more complicated for Ruse. Another good first serve, and she levels us up at 2 games all here. Jan, I just wonder courtside, what sort of energy do you get from Madison Keys? We've talked about the intensity from Ruse, but Keys, is she looking confident? She looks a little nervous to me.
On some of the returns and setting up for the returns, she looks a little bit resigned. Definitely doesn't project that intensity that is important to returning well and trying to read the serve. And even that last return with Ruse losing 2 points in a row, you want to make that return, and her racket was on it. Just wasn't quite focused on the right things there.
By contrast, the Romanian bundle of energy on the baseline, ready to return again. Sensing this could be her night.
And look, you have to say, I mean, what Keys is feeling may be something different, but what she's projecting was a bit of that resignation. And I think Ruse is feeding off of all of it.
Boy, is Ruse really stepping in on the second serve of Keys. She's really able to get some good shoulder turn, drive through the ball. Mainly been going cross court with it, but still catching Keys by surprise.
And umpire Marco Savage just an announcement there asking the crowd to stay quiet during the point. There's definitely some passionate Romanian supporters out there, and they're getting plenty to cheer.
And as they should be. They have the underdog to cheer through the finish line.
And what a moment we have on our hands here. The qualifier ranked 125 in the world with a chance to move a break ahead in this third set.
I'm a little confused as to why Keys keeps serving into the backhand of Ruse. She's been able to handle the spin a lot better on that wing, Ruse. I'd be sliding this out wide.
Oh my goodness, that was really nervy looking there from Keys, who's in real trouble now. Ruse moves ahead 3-2 in the third. Chandler mentioned Keys almost looking a little resigned and negative here. That was a pretty negative couple of games. Almost like she's a little afraid here of what's happening.
Well, and, you know, to Coco's point in terms of the serve, you know, she's hitting these serves, really the same serve, and a lot of them are more in the middle of the box. They're not really, you know, she's not really hitting her targets where she can open up some court. And even if you know that return is going to come back, hit the spot you want to get the next reply, which in many cases is a forehand or something more in the middle of the court. So you're be looking to play more pattern tennis, and it just seems like Keys is struggling right now to think as clearly and as critically here.
Madison Keys on a 6-match win streak coming in to this second round match. Won the title in Adelaide in a stacked draw. She's right up against it now against Elena-Gabriela Ruse, who's serving at 3-2 final set. These are the moments though, Coco. I think it's rare that you go deep in a Grand Slam without coming through some tough moments.
That's for sure. And who's going to come out on top? I can't say who's been through a tougher moment right now, whether it's Ruse battling back after being down love 4 in the first set, or if Madison Keys can pull this out.
Just couldn't quite get the necessary topspin on the forehand. It's been a problem for Keys. 37 unforced errors now. It's another return, as Chanda spoke to in the previous Ruse service game. It was almost hopeful from Keys. Nothing hopeful about that one though. Fresh impetus. Keys broke Ruse in her opening 2 service games. Coco mentioned it. She took a 4-love lead in the first set. She hasn't broken the Romanian since. Is this her moment to get back into this set? That's too good. It's been a real shining light in a tough evening for Madison Keys. That backhand down the line. Plenty more tactical input from her coach and husband Bjorn Fratangelo, but Coco just feels like the backhand down the line has to be a shot she should look for as often as possible.
Yes, and it has worked, it hasn't worked, so it's hard to back any sort of rally ball from Keys, but Ruse just playing into that wing a couple too many times. It's hard because you become predictable knowing that you want to play into the Keys backhand. It's her weaker wing. You don't want to have her seeing too many forehands, but then again, when she's getting hot, you have to change something. I do like that serve placement from Keys, a little bit more body with that kick serve. Ruse has been all over that second serve if she's getting it out wide to the backhand. A lot smarter serve placement there.
Well, forward she comes. Just the 10th time tonight. And gets the job done. Feels like the kind of play she needs to be brave enough to execute a little more often.
This is the first time I've seen Keys stride a bit more around the court. Just the last game and a half now looks a little more positive, as she should. She's made some nice moves and she's got the momentum here.
The momentum certainly has swung again here on the Margaret Court Arena. And the 19th seed moves ahead for now in this final set. Bit of an epic, and it's still very hard to tell which way it's going. Wouldn't like to put too much money on it, that's for sure. Keys just trying to keep it together, trying to find a way through this significant challenge.
Time.
Still plenty of action here at the Australian Open on day 5. And none more so than here on the Margaret Court Arena.
I'm just surprised Keys has not picked up on the tactic of getting served into her forehand to open up the backhand wing consistently.
Ruse's second main draw singles appearance here at the Australian Open. She made the second round in 2022. But she is a semi-finalist in the doubles here at Melbourne Park. 2023 alongside Marta Kostyuk, losing to eventual champions Krejcikova, Siniakova. Well, here comes a big point. There's that backhand just flies wide. This is where the belief of the qualifiers really tested. All the hard work she's put in this evening, all the fight, all the positivity. It's about delivering from here on in. The belief has been unwavering.
But again, another serve out wide into the forehand of Keys. Anytime the chips have been down throughout this whole third set, it's constantly gone there.
Into the forehand again on the outside. Ruse levels us up. He's seeded 19 here, but ranked 14 in the world this week after her 9th title of her career in Adelaide. Oh, what a return. First serve of Madison Keys, usually such a weapon. Just one ace in this match so far. Oh, magnificent from Keys. Magnificent from both players. Giving this everything they've got.
Both of these players both know how important this moment is, how important the extra ball getting back is, and how hard they have to work to do it getting into this third set, 2 hours, 13 minutes in.
Madison Keys holds her nerve. She holds her serve. And after the break, the qualifier Ruse will serve to stay in it. Plenty of miles on the clock for Madison Keys with the title in Adelaide. 5 matches won there. Quick turnaround. Get across to Melbourne. won her first round in fairly quick fashion, but it's been a busy 9 or 10 days. I'll be thinking about that now, though. It's just trying to win one more game and get through this significant battle. Whatever happens tonight, Elena-Gabriela Ruse has shown us what she is capable of. That won't change the fact that if she loses this game, it'll be bitterly disappointing. Serving to stay in the match now, all the pressure on the Romanian. Outstanding.
That might be one of the longer rallies of this match. And both players fighting for their lives out here. I'm noticing Keys is taking a little bit off of her ball, getting a little bit more spin, keeping the rally ball in play.
Second serve, took a risk, got the reward. Always walking that tightrope between making balls and going for big shots. Just fell foul of the balance there. A foot fault, the first of the match. What a moment. What a time for it. Keys gets a look at a second serve. And makes it count. While the foot fault is monitored on cameras along the baseline, I can only think that Ruse just a lapse in concentration, maybe the tension of the moment, just encroaching onto the baseline there in that first serve, and it cost her. She would have won the point. 30 all now. And 30 all becomes 30-40. How costly that foot fault could be.
Smartly, Ruse taking her time here, using every second of the shot clock, facing match point after such a hard-fought third set.
She had it on a racket. Capable of hitting winners from anywhere. Maybe just came up and out of that forehand, Coco.
Yeah, I don't think Keys is going to get a better look at a forehand than that one right there. Just didn't stay low through the shot.
Tension continues on Margaret Court Arena. Unbelievable! A better point in a bigger moment you could not wish to see. And it's the 19th seed, Madison Keys, who prevails.
Keys.
It looked several times like they both had it, but ultimately the American, look at the emotion. Look at the passion. That's what it means. And she's got a second chance now for a spot in the third round. Can you believe it? What an effort from Elena-Gabriela Ruse. Her hopes hanging by a thread. She has dug this forehand over the net somehow.
That was a heck of a backhand down the line for Madison Keys, but my goodness, this match just has so many more twists and turns left.
Just drifted wide, the side spin taking it out of the court. There's another foot fault. It's got to be the tension of the moment, just edging onto that baseline. But the return goes wide, and that is one of the toughest holds of serve you will see in this tournament. The world number 125 just refuses to go away. Look at her, pumps the chest. Talk about fight. Talk about competitiveness. And what will that do to the psyche of Madison Keys, serving now at 5-all?
We have to expect utmost professionalism in this service game from Keys. She's going to go through this game as methodically as she can.
Keys must have thought she'd won it on that second match point when she hit that backhand down the line. You know, your emotions change, even shot to shot. And when she made contact and saw the ball, she thought, this is mine, surely.
I thought that first backhand down the line was it, let alone the second one she had lined up.
Yep. Can't afford to dwell on those thoughts. The only point that matters is the next one. I haven't seen many forehands miss time like that from Ruse. That's a quality game for Madison Keys. Sticking to the task. And once more, after the break, Ruse is going to have to serve to stay in this match. Well, those pictures tell the story. Ruse is 5'8" tall, but she's stood significantly taller than that at times tonight. Great pictures. And she's going to have to dig deep once again here. Serving at 5'6", a potential final set tiebreak awaits. Here we go. Last time Ruse served, we went 8 minutes plus. An epic game. And she's going to serve to stay it, and again here.
Chanda, how are the vibes down there on court for both of these players?
I mean, they're in it, both of them, and at times the quality has just been so good, and this is what we were hoping for at certain times in this match, but they both look positive, and it's just about who can execute down the stretch.
Oh, what a serve from Ruse. Second serve. Down love 15, taking it on, going slice T. Keys thinks it's out. She's still arguing the call. Again, electronic line calling, you just have to move on.
It did look sort of half on, half off. Every time Ruse has had an opportunity to go away, she's responded. Can't find the second serve this time, though. Changed it up, went out wide, and missed by some margin. So having saved match points at 4-5, Ruse faces 2 more here. The win streak continues for Madison Keys. The Adelaide champion makes it 7 in a row, but this was far from straightforward. All credit to Elena-Gabriela Ruse, who made this a real contest. Ultimately, though, it's the 19th seed who prevails. 7-5 in the third.
In a battle, it was, Colin. It was both back and forth, but I want to give the utmost credit to Ruse, coming back from 4-love down in the first set, losing that first set, battling for that second, and in the dogfight for the third. Boy, did she really show some heart out there.
And look at her coach and husband, Bjorn Fritangel. He looks like he's been through the ringer. No wonder he puffs out a sigh of relief. The emotion from Madison Keys as she moves into round 3. I think it's a mix of joy, but also relief. Ruse pushed her all the way tonight. She won't be ranked 125 for long if she plays like that. She'll be back inside that top 100 and beyond, where she belongs. But it's Madison Keys who moves on. Great reception there for Ruse, rightly so. She'll be hurting right now. So many positives for her to take. There's a celebration for Madison Keys, and I'm happy to say she's going to be talking down on court now to Chanda Rubin.
Madison Keys, you have done it again. You're into another third round here at the Australian Open. But, but it was 2.5 hours of intense work. How are you feeling after that one?
I feel good, yeah. That was, not the prettiest tennis and really had to gut it out, and I think she played a really high level, but yeah, cool.
Okay, so let's go through a little bit of what happened that we all enjoyed. You were up 4-love. She came back. She was playing unbelievable tennis. You win the first set. She comes back playing great. You get to the third. You start playing great down the stretch. She plays great, saving a couple of match points. How did you keep coming back to turn things back around in your favor?
Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Makes one of us. But, I really just kept having to dig deep and was really just fighting for every single point. I think she played really well, and I had to keep kind of adjusting what I was trying to do out here and kind of try to figure out what to do. I felt like, I wasn't serving quite as well as I wanted to, or really dictating quite as much as I wanted to, so I felt like I kind of had to shift game plans and really just try to survive out here, and really happy that I was able to get that win.
Oh, you survived, you thrived. Now, last year you weren't able to start the year here. You weren't able to play the Australian Open. This is such a special time of year for you. How has it felt this year, getting off to such a good start already with a tournament title under your belt and being able to be back out here on court? What's been the best thing about being back here this year?
I've always loved playing in Australia. It was the first semifinal I ever made in a slam, and I've always really done well here and had some amazing fans and always had some really great support. So I was so sad to miss it last year. So I'm so happy to be back and be in front of all of these amazing fans, and glad that I get to play another match out here.
Well, it's been great to have you back. Congratulations on a terrific win. Madison Keys into the third round of the Australian Open.